Hello there and welcome to the Zero Credentials F1 podcast. We're here today, myself and Nelly, to talk about the entire 2025 season in Formula One. We've got some new viewers, I think, as well. It was an exciting season at times, a little bit dull at others. We've got loads to break down, rank everybody and everything. So let's get into it. For those of you that don't know, my name is Adam, and my good friend here is...
I'm Nelly, and we host a podcast called... Zero Credentials. But why do we call ourselves Zero Credentials, Adam?
Well, when we were putting it together, there's a lot of podcasts and stuff out there with people maybe with credentials, but we have... I think I've done a track day once and I play a bit of PlayStation, but neither of us have a single motorsport credential. We are, however, lifelong F1 fans and have been watching it literally since we're about 4 or 5 years old. And we're aging up a little bit now, aren't we, mate? So
maturing like a fine wine. It's getting better with age, to be fair. But yeah, we have a chat about F1. We don't claim to know anything about the specifics. We just give our opinions and shoot from the hip and tell you what we feel, what we see, and maybe doing a bit of interpretation on the side. Take it or leave it, disagree with us, agree with us. It doesn't really matter, but we'll tell you how we see it.
Yeah, and if you get offended, leave a comment down below and let us know that you're offended and see how that
please write to P.O. Box Shredder at the incineration station. Don't care. Mind your business.
I think let's start with an overall impression of the season. What were your sort of thoughts?
Well, for me, it's a transitional season, isn't it, to a new set of regs, and that's one for another day to discuss. But there was that you fizzing? You normally fizz when we got on, are you?
Yeah, I'm getting busy with
it. Very good. Keep hydrated, brother. It's good for you. Transitional season. So a lot of people are focusing the resources and the testing time on next year. The current set of regulations have been chased down by all of the teams so that they can get in the bin now. They'd figured out the overtaking lark. They were pumping out dirty air. You couldn't drive anywhere near as close as they wanted to, or we were meant to with the current set of regs. And it did take a shine off some of the performances. Some of the races did feel a little bit processional, much less overtaking than one might hope, but there was a lot of sort of off the grid action, a lot of permutations, a bit of fun with a title challenge between the two McLaren lads, a bit of self-harm between the McLaren team to their own team strategies, and a dog of a season from Ferrari. But Max also did a Max and wrung the neck of a bang average Red Bull car this year, but nearly pipped them at the post. Not quite, but he absolutely stormed the last half dozen races of the season and made them all sweat.
Yeah, he did. 2 points in it by the end, which is kind of extraordinary when you think he was over 100 points behind after Zandvoort. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was an all right season. I have pretty much hated this set of regulations that we've just had since it arrived, because it obviously arrived on the back of one of the greatest seasons of all time in 2021, in my opinion. And it was really, the regulations were designed to allow closer following, which I think it initially probably achieved, but that was with the addition of the word we all became aware of, and porpoising.
Yeah.
And it was just, the cars looked ridiculous when they were doing that. And it it made them look briefly like a bunch of fucking amateurs.
Yeah. It was wacky races, wasn't it? It was
mental.
mental.
And you're getting like some of the more senior drivers getting out of the car like they'd been beaten up at the end of a race. It was just so stupid. But then as they've got rid of that, they've engineered that out like they do. We've then just got to the point where you're getting DRS trains, processions, and I think I mentioned it on one of the other shows the other week that the ability to follow, I'd seen a stat, is now worse than it was in 2021.
Yeah.
So I don't think they've really achieved what they were aiming to. We'll probably talk a little bit about next season later in the show, but
don't you think that regs are a point in time? And my view with that is the teams are just too smart for the regs. You get that set of regs, and then everyone's got them for the first race, trying to figure them out, and then over the next 2 or 3 seasons, however long those regulations are in place, it's just a race to see who can manipulate and interpret them and figure them out the best, till we always get to another point of back to where we were of processional driving.
I don't think at the end of 2021 that was true though, because you're right. Like they all compress, and and that's happened this season, but it happened in 2021 as well with Red Bull catching right up with Mercedes in terms of the car, and it gave us that rivalry between Max and Lewis, which will go down in the ages as something incredible. And yes, they struggled to follow a little bit then as well, but it's still made for exciting racing. Whereas this season, we've never really had those sort of wheel-to-wheel battles around several corners. Like if you imagine Silverstone 2021, when obviously Max went out, but that first lap of there was one of the most exciting laps of F1 you will ever see.
Yeah.
The commentary was superb. The racing was superb, and it ended in a big talking point. But it was, no matter what side of the aisle you sit on for that, you've got to admit that was a thrilling lap.
That 90-second snippet is just like the poster child for F1. That's if you want to know what F1's about, that's it.
I don't think we've seen anything like that recreated since 2021. Really, there's been a couple of obviously good moments, but I'm glad.
But we mentioned it during the season as well. It turned into a first corner race. You threw everything at the first corner, win or lose, and the race basically settles down from there with a 2.5, 3 second gap, so that you're comfortable in the slipstream behind them, and everyone was focusing on literally the first few corners to make or break the race.
I think you also have to accept that Formula One, like many sports, there's a certain percentage that's sport, and there's a certain percentage which is entertainment. And maybe F1 shifts more towards entertainment than sport, I don't know. But you kind of have to keep that in your mind when you're thinking about all this, because the entertainment, I don't think, has always been there. The sport definitely has, because we've got the championship, but I just think it's been lacking in entertainment on a few occasions. And if you're thinking about the entertainment as a bit of a story or a narrative, the closeness of the car and the unpredictability of each car at each race, it broke the narrative a little bit. You didn't have that many stories building through the season. And if Max hadn't done what Max did this year, it would have been pretty boring, completely. Yeah. But I reckon he's provided about 95% of the entertainment this year. And he certainly has. I think I mentioned it on the last show that he'd joked that he needs to get some new haters.
Oh yeah, because people are respecting him now.
Yeah, all his old ones seem to like him now.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, me too. I'm right in that camp.
Yeah, absolutely. But we all love a bad guy, though, don't we? And Max is the best one playing it at the moment. But yeah,
personally, I love a winner as well, though, and he's done that over and over.
Yeah.
Like he's
a stone cold and absolutely zero fucks are given, and that's what you got to respect. That's what we wanted to see more in Lando this season.
Yeah. he's an old, like Max is an old school racer. He cares about racing, driving, and winning, doesn't he?
Yeah,
That's like maybe his family. I don't know, but like he doesn't seem.
That's
to
not old school. They used to love everybody's family, didn't they? In the olden days, they probably had families all over the world. They only get to see them on a race weekend. But yeah, the old boys, love it.
That's funny. Yeah. Right. Let's. Should we just talk through the teams a little bit, so we sort of try and cover all bases here, and then we're going to do some sort of ranking system that includes multiplying the quality of the car with the driver with the driver performance, because it would be very dull just to rank people, which would end up in terms of the championship.
Yeah, well, we had a bit of a brief discussion about some of the cars were poor, but some of the racers were potentially outperforming the cars. And is there a way of sort of leveling the field so that you can pick out a good performance from a driver versus a poor performance from a car, or vice versa, and see if that would make a difference to the rankings overall? So we're doing this on the spot, yeah?
A general fan score, I think, is what we're trying to achieve here. So we'll start from the bottom. Let's start with Alpine. Any thoughts on them? They're a bit of a backroom shuffle again this year, which they seem to like to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's really disappointing when you consider this is the team with the racing heritage of Renault. They've taken a wrong corner somewhere. I mean, they're coming out of the Renault coming out of the engine market completely. So it's purely the Alpine brand moving forward with a supplier engine. But I think they, as the scoreboard's shown quite definitively, they had a shocking season. They didn't seem to have speed, reliability, or any sort of meaningful downforce. And normally you get one of those right, don't you? As you triangulate them. But they just seem to get it all wrong, but didn't really seem to kick on or develop it even mid-season. I don't know if the management or the investors or whomever just lost a bit of interest. It felt a bit disinterested.
Yeah, because they got this consortium in, didn't they, last year, which included a load of celebrities.
Yeah.
Like the Wrexham boys and...
Flavio's back.
Yeah, so they're obviously going through a period of change. I mean, Flavio he got rid of Jack Doohan within seconds, didn't he? And brought Franco Colapinto in, who, to some extent, disappointed this year after quite a lot of his antics with Williams, which were quite entertaining, sending stuff down the inside, sort of Hail Mary moves, which we quite like. There didn't seem to be any of that this year. And you just kind of... I remember watching Drive to Survive last year, and I think it was the Singapore episode, which the drivers kind of basically vlogged themselves, which I thought was a really good episode. There was a lot of Pierre Gasly in that. And you just think, like, he is a brilliant driver.
He is.
And his career just has kind of... There hasn't been any luck involved whatsoever. and you need that sometimes. No. He got, like, in the car with Max, which obviously didn't work out for him. He's then gone to the French team as a Frenchman, then got there with Ocon, and they didn't get along. So there's all those shenanigans. Yeah, and Alpine have just got worse and worse and worse. But he's done some extraordinary things in that car this year. He got to like Q3 on numerous, like in the last 10 races or something.
Yeah.
So I know you officially, as James Vowles says, you cannot outperform the car. But he has outperformed that Alpine. Yeah. Absolutely. He has no... and the fact, the way he just went backwards in the race just shows you kind of...
It must be soul-destroying, because as you say, he's clearly talented. He's shown it. And I think he's probably one of the ones that in the second Red Bull main car, in retrospect, he performed okay compared to those who come since. because he was only within 4 or 5 places of Max, where the others recently have not even been in the same postcode. They've been all over the place. So clearly a talented lad, but I think the car they were given in terms of general reliability and predictability was the poorest, and that came out in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, it did. Right, who's next? Who is next on the list?
The
Sauber.
I think a bit of a curate's egg this season. I think they've had they can't say that they've had a bad season, because sometimes the car showed that it could perform particularly well, and there were some excellent Q3 and qualifying performances from particularly Nico, but also was it Bartoletto? And but I'm sure Bartoletto got the odd top 5, so a lot of potential there. Again, lacking reliability, because when the car didn't like the track, it really didn't like the track, and it went backwards in an awful way.
Yeah, their swings have been major, haven't they?
Yeah, but I think they'll have had a development-less season, because obviously Sauber evolves into Audi for next year, and they're, by all accounts, extremely well ahead of the game in terms of their package. But they wouldn't have been investing significantly in this year's Sauber during the season.
No, I think that's right. They're obviously going through a period of change. And like you said, they've had some good moments. When you look at the actual scores, they finished, they're only kind of 9 points behind Haas. Yet they are, Alpine have got 22 points and Sauber have got 70, which just sort of shows how bad Alpine were. But didn't Hülkenberg got onto the podium though as well, didn't he?
He did.
Silverstone.
He did.
And he got a fifth place. I think he got a 5th in Spain. So that European section, they were quite a bit stronger. So I think it'll be interesting to see where they go next year. Are they?
No, and I think they can take a lot of comfort in the season that they've had, because they've actually shown some sparks of entertainment as well. Yeah, and that's what I would say.
That Audi engine, they're the only one with that for obvious reasons. But that could be a wild card, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that. Everybody seems to think that the Mercedes engine is going to be the one to have, but like Audi
are no schmucks.
No, and they know how to go racing. They're a huge racing team. They just haven't been in F1.
Well, this is it. But they absolutely dominate the Le Mans series, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, the hypercars and such like that. Yeah, it's
and they know how to do electric stuff as well, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah, watch this space for them.
Yeah, indeed. Who's next? Haas.
Do you know what? I've really enjoyed bits of the season for Haas, particularly with the performance of young Behrman. I think he's had an absolutely outstanding rookie season, and absolutely not in the easiest of cars. But in terms of him actually making a nuisance of himself and progressing through the race, he seemed to have always been there or thereabouts. And I'm delighted for him. I think he's had an absolutely fantastic season. Obviously not with the greatest car in the world. And, Ocon is no schmuck. He's not my favourite driver by any means, but he's no schmuck. And he beat him in the Drivers' Championship as well. So bravo for your rookie season. I think you had not the easiest car to play with, but you did some brilliant work with it.
He had a tough time at the beginning, Behrman, didn't he? He struggled to start with.
A few DNFs and a few
mistakes.
Amateurish accidents,
a few fines, that kind of thing. Points on his license and stuff. But he's put Ocon to shame, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
In the last few weeks or the last few races, he's just out-qualified in that 4th place in Mexico. I thought really showed what Behrman's capable of, even though we'd seen him at Saudi Arabia in the Ferrari and he'd done a good job. But in that Haas in Mexico, he was holding off the best in the world, mixing it up with the best in the world in better cars, and they couldn't get past him. Maybe that's because of the stuff we were sort of complaining about at the start with the following, but you can only play with the tools that you're given, aren't you? So
he made the car as big as he could. It didn't make it easy for them, even with the differential and dirty air and DRS. But no, absolutely well impressed with that lad, and I think he's got a future.
Ocon, I think you've got to look at him as when
he's
it
on
comes
the way
round
down now, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. When you're thinking like who's going to be giving up their seat next year, if there's any new drivers sort of pushing in, he's got to be there on that list to drop off. Do you know what I mean? Like unless something extraordinary happens next year. But yeah, he's
absolutely a candidate for that, isn't he? You've got to think that way. Yeah.
I mean, like all these silly seasons though that we get with driver transfers and stuff, it usually starts with one of the big boys moving, doesn't it? That could be like something like Max goes to Mercedes. If that Mercedes engine is good, then who do Mercedes get rid of? Do they like Antonelli and Max rather than George? Even if George has done a Damon Hill and actually won the championship that year, he still gets kicked out the year after. You know what I mean? So there's all sorts of connotations that could happen. And I just think when that shakes out, people like Ocon are going to be thinking,
yeah. And there's still a fresh crop. I mean, this is largely a year for the rookies, isn't it? I think there's more rookies than we've had for a good number of years. And some of them have had hot and cold starts, but in general, I've been very impressed across the field with the rookies.
Indeed. Right, who's next in the team championship? Aston Martin. Yeah.
Aston Martin. Frustrating. I'd expect them to be kicking on a little bit more. They've got all the money. They've got Newey. They've got Fonzie. They've even got Lance Stroll, who's an absolutely incredible talent. And it always worries me because Aston Martin can be extremely good at some circuits, rarely, but extremely good, especially in quali modes. And a lot of the time they're absolutely garbage as well. I mean, they sit I know Fonzie likes a whinge and a moan, but I think some of the most epic whinges and moans he's had over the radio have been in the Aston Martin when he's saying, like, just retire me. What's the point? It's a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, they're when I talked about the consistency at the beginning, they're one of the teams that have swung a lot as well, where you get like Fonzie one race pushing to be in the top 5, and the next race they're stone last.
Yeah.
That's been a common occurrence this year, and Aston Martin have been at the brunt of that a lot of the time. Obviously, this season that car was not an Adrian Newey car, was it? So he's full focused on 2026. I did hear a funny little thing the other day though, because they were like, well, he's been working on it since April or something when he started. And so I can't remember who it was. They were just like, yeah, officially.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
Didn't
had the
pick
regs.
up a pencil before then, yeah.
No, like he's had the regs for a while, I'm sure, and he's been, whether it's got like smashed in Aston on the piece of paper, rather, it's the same. It's going to be the same car.
Yeah, this will have been in the offing for some time as well, and they'll always be, because they are a tradable commodity. These specialists, there'll always be a few ideas that he'll have thought, well, I might throw them at my next team, or I might not develop that so much. And he will have been sandbagging in the final few months of Red Bull, without question.
Yeah, and he's now the team principal of Aston Martin as well. So we'll see how that goes. There's always that question of whether is the technical engineer the right person to lead things.
Yeah, do you want a driver's mind or do you want a technical mind? Listen, he's the greatest at what he does, and what he will be able to do in a leadership position is inspire people. Because if you know that your boss is the top of the tree for your team, is the best at what he does, that's got to give you a boost, isn't it? It's got to give you a boost to every layer of the team.
What about Lance Stroll though? Does he stay? Does he? What if that car suddenly is good next year? Is he? And you've got Alonso getting podiums, and he's like doing a Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah.
What happens then? At what point does Daddy say enough's enough?
Well, it's the nepotism will reign, and it's, to be fair, he's styled it out since the days of Force India and below. I've said this before, he's not my favourite driver by any manner of means, and he is an EPO baby, but until somebody else holds a larger equity share of Aston Martin racing than Lawrence Stroll, then I think he'd be fairly comfortable to have a seat. But he's making it hard for his father to defend him. Increasingly, he's not showing. He's not showing the grid, as far as I'm concerned. He's been routinely beaten by the Fons, Mr. Alonso, and he was in the twilight of his career and is helping develop that car. I think for them to progress, they're going to need to change. Alonso's not going to be around forever, and do you really want him being there? The banker in your team. I can see when Alonso goes that both of them go and they start with a fresh crop.
Yep, indeed. Right, let's go to the next one, which is, who are we on to? Racing Bulls.
Racing
briefly.
Bulls. Red Bull's reserve team.
Yeah, I just don't care, if I'm honest. I don't think they should have two teams.
No.
No. And it's fair enough that it was maybe at a point where Formula One was not as popular and they were struggling for money, and Red Bull came in and said, yeah, we'll pitch up two teams. I think that's fair enough. But is that legacy going to allow them to maintain two teams through this hugely popular era that we seem to be in?
Depends how long they want to keep throwing money. It's not a cheap venture to run two teams. I'm certain of it. I think they've done okay this year. To be fair, I think they've quite a lot of the time the Racing Bulls have outperformed Yuki in the parent Red Bull, which is very embarrassing for Yuki. But we know the issues with that second Red Bull seat. It's factored entirely to Max's requirements, and nobody else can drive like that. So nobody else can drive that car. But they've done okay. A decent to sort of mid-ranging car that they've got. The odd little nice performance, and then you've got obviously Hajar in the team who's done extremely well in his rookie season.
Isaac, not Isaac.
Isaac Hajar.
Yeah.
And well, I'll make sure.
Make sure you get that right.
Not to misname. Not to misname him. Yeah. And then Liam Lawson, after a rough time, I'm delighted that he came back and sort of seems to have regathered some of his confidence again, and a few little nice showings out there.
Because he didn't get long, did he? He didn't get long to play in the main Red Bull, but I think getting him out of there was probably doing him a favour in the long run, because Yuki's now lost his drive, and Hajar is moving up to the big team. Yeah. How do you think that's going to go? Because he's had a great season. I think probably you'd rank him maybe the top of the rookie drivers for the Earl. We'll see how that plays out.
Wasn't looking like that early doors, didn't he? Bin it on the formation, not the formation lap. He was actually going to the grid. Lap. Or was it going to the grid on the first race?
I'm sure it was the formation lap, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
everybody was watching.
His career didn't start well, but no, he's been brilliant this season. I've enjoyed watching the guy, and he can clearly drive. So I've been pleased to see how he's performed. But yeah, I'm sorry, I can't see anything being, unless they have a major philosophical change in that Red Bull car, which they won't, because Max is getting performance out. They want to bring them closer to Max rather than Max closer to them, because they're further down the grid.
There's just no way that car is going to be built to any specifications that suit Hadjar next year. Because I think since Christian Horner left and all the bigwigs left, Max is, I assume, has a lot of power in that team now.
Oh, undoubtedly.
And they're going to want to keep him as sweet as possible.
Especially with the spectre of him thinking about leaving, or at least speculation that he's even thinking about it. That will absolutely unsettle them. So they'll be more and more keen to do whatever it takes to hold on to who is clearly the best driver on the grid.
The only hope that Hadjar has is that he can drive a bit like Max Verstappen. And there is some suggestion that he can. So he might be able to perform in a car that suits Max. Do you know what I mean? Whereas clearly no one else has been able to do that. Maybe Checo for a very short time. But
it's, I don't know, it feels cursed.
I'm worried. Yeah, because I think we said on the show that we agreed that we wouldn't assume it's going to be different next time. Because it hasn't been up to now. Every time someone sat next to him, they've struggled. And history would suggest that nothing new is going to happen this time.
I mean, these are not idiots either entering the second seat. They're not shitbags. They've often proved themselves in the Racing Bulls team that they can do a job and often, outperform themselves or have an extremely good season. So it is seen as a promotion, but so it's not throwing a rookie in and expecting them to change everything. It's often people who've had a good few. I mean, you can't say Checo was anything close to a rookie, and they have the ability to change their style, but there's just something about that setup that does not compute with clearly 90% of all other drivers on the grid.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hadjar seems to have found his way into people's hearts pretty quickly. I think the vast majority of people out there will be hoping he can mix it up with Max next year, but we'll see how that plays out. Let's move on to Williams and everybody's favourite driver, Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
And Alex Albon. Their season was a tale of two halves for the drivers, wasn't it? We had Albon really doing quite well in the first half of the season. Sainz struggled a bit, took him time to get up to speed with the sort of Williams car and the Mercedes power. And then they kind of swapped halfway through the season.
Yeah. But when he did come to it, I think Sainz got the better results. He podiumed towards the end of the season. We all enjoyed seeing that.
Yeah.
And
a fourth, was it?
Yeah.
Albon had a couple of fifth places as well, though, didn't he? 2 or 3, I think.
I think they've had a respectable season. Certainly in terms of the team rankings. Still a few performance issues, still a few reliability issues. But I think they've got a package of 2 solid drivers and hopefully a basis to step on from here. Would love to see. I've got a huge soft spot for Williams. Would love to see them crawling back to the top and starting to compete. And I think they've got little.
Absolutely.
I think they've got little signs that they could start to step up again. But yeah, I just love the team, love the ethos. Miss it a little bit since the Williams family actually left there, and certainly Sir Frank. But yeah, they've got some excellent backroom staff and excellent. I mean, he's the next big thing, isn't he? James
Vowles.
Absolutely, without question. He's gonna rocket to the moon, that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe the last question hanging over his head is he the man manager that he needs to be to run a team like that. I mean, he seems like an intense character, albeit somewhat personable. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I think they've got amongst the best driver lineups on the grid still. I think if they have that Mercedes power and they're potentially one of the better teams on the grid next year with the opportunity to be putting podiums in there, Alex Albon needs to be getting on that podium.
Yeah.
Because I think this season Sainz has showed improvement all the way through, and the times when he has been in those podium positions in that car, he just looks like he belongs there.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? You weren't. It almost wasn't surprising to see a Williams up on the podium because it was Carlos Sainz.
Yeah,
he's done that over and over again for Ferrari, and I don't think I'm alone in thinking he was the better of the two drivers at Ferrari.
Certainly on his day. Certainly on his day when he was one with that car, he sometimes shamed.
Maybe not on pure qualifying pace, but
imagine Williams. Can you believe your luck like that? The Carlos Sainz becomes available, leaving Ferrari, and like you're looking around, you're thinking, "What? Nobody else is taking him." Yes, we'll definitely have you. Come here at once. I mean, they have actually. He could have gone to almost any team that he wanted to. He was that good. He had so much quality.
Is that true though? Did it? Did it play out like that?
You'd know he would do a job for you. Certainly, I think he was possibly Williams. Not lucky, but very fortunate that he became available at the right time. And I think it's a marriage made in heaven, actually. And he seems quite happy. Obviously, early frustrations at the start of the season, but he's got his head around the car. But at least he can say that I entered the car at the start of the season, had a couple of difficulties, but I progressed. I'm better in that car at the end of the season than I was at the start of it. And I think some drivers and cars could say the opposite.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next year with them. If that Mercedes power unit is a good one, they'll be potentially towards the front, and they've obviously got some improvements that could be made with James Vowles era sort of coming into a bit more maturity now. Right, let's move on to Ferrari then, who finished in fourth.
Not sure how they finished in fourth. It just feels like an awful season for Ferrari. Absolutely awful.
I mean, Ferrari, their target is not fourth, is it, in any championship?
No. It just seemed they had bad decision after bad decision, could not get that car to turn on and work, suffered from porpoising and ground effect. Obviously, in trying to reconcile that issue, they went too low to the ground and then destroyed the plank underneath, and then got themselves disqualified a few times, and some of the strategic decisions that were made actually off the track were pretty appalling, and I've never seen so much depression in two drivers that are still in a leading car, but so much frustration that they cannot get anything.
I mean, when it comes to the drivers, I reckon they're still one of the better lineups on the grid. You've got Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, #8, and he's gone there to win his 8th championship. So he's not interested in the car that's coming fourth in the championship. Charles Leclerc, I mean, again, he's not had much luck in his career. And I would have said a few years ago, he's championship winning material, but how much longer does that last? He's not getting any younger.
No.
And he needs that car to be good next year, just as much as Lewis does.
Well,
maybe more. One funny story I did hear about Ferrari was that I think it was Ted Kravitz from Sky Sports had been saying that him and Karun Chandhok they'd gone out for dinner after, I think, the last race, and had been hanging out with Bono.
As you do.
Lewis is...
the Bono, the Edge, will you pass me a slice of Viennetta?
And he was, obviously, Lewis's old engineer at Mercedes. He said to them that he's listened to, they were talking about this miscommunication that seems to be happening in Ferrari sometimes. And Bono was saying he listened to the communication with Ferrari. And then he was like, I know what Lewis wants there. I know what he means. And he's like, they don't know what he means.
What he means.
So like that, I mean, they obviously built up a relationship over the years, but I think very much that is one of the frustrations that Lewis Hamilton's been feeling. And prior to that, in the seasons that it was Leclerc and Sainz, it was just as bad then. So it's not as if it's not as if it's Lewis. Like this has been an ongoing thing for years now, and at some point you've got to shut that down. You've got to bring in different personnel. If your lead engineers on the radio are not doing the job, you've got to change them. You've got to. They haven't won anything for years.
They've had Alonso, they've had Seb Vettel, they've had Raikkonen. Admittedly, Raikkonen did it, but more by luck than judgment, I would say. I'm more concerned the more I read about Ferrari is that I think they've got an ethos of, we build the cars, you drive the cars, and they don't listen to feedback from the drivers who really do know a lot, and they're very bullheaded and say, well, no, we'll build it, you drive it, and that's it. Our design principles and everything else have nothing to do with you. You don't get involved in any of that. Just tell me if something needs tweaking. You can change a little bit of the suspension and the wing angle, and that's your lot.
It's almost starting to feel like there's some sort of like union or mafia that cannot be fucked with, and will not be changed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think if they need a moment of reflection and a moment of being self-aware that actually we're not doing what we need to do. And
I think any long-term F1 fan, when they picture F1 in their mind, Ferrari are rolling around at the front on winning podiums, hearing that Italian national anthem after a race. Do you know what I mean? Like it's synonymous with F1.
Yeah.
And seeing them in such shambles to the point where they're now a meme of how not to do it. Like it's shocking.
They can't get to a point where they think that Ferrari is bigger than the sport or bigger than listening to the feedback of some of their drivers. And I think if they just took some constructive criticism from the drivers, I'm sure Lewis will be desperate to feed into that. He's got a better more standing, more kudos than the likes of Charles because he's done it. But you pay the guy handsomely. Take some of his advice.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of their philosophy with the car design this year was, like you said, to have it close to the ground. And that went pear-shaped because as soon as they lifted it up a bit, it lost all performance, didn't it? Because was it China where Lewis got disqualified? But in the sprint, he won the sprint. He won the sprint. Like that was old school Lewis Hamilton. He popped it on pole and won the race. But so they're obviously wearing the plank down in that race, but not enough to then get disqualified. In the race, it was then for too long. I want to see more from Ferrari. We're like, if you've not watched this show before, we're both huge Lewis Hamilton fans, and it's kind of painful. It's painful seeing him rolling around at the point that he's at. Like, just
out of Q1 on the regular.
Oh God, I know, it's just
not good.
I just want to see him do well again. Although we shouldn't be feeling sorry for Lewis Hamilton, for Sir Lewis Hamilton, multi-millionaire, has lived his dream for. Yeah, we should not be feeling sorry for him. Right, let's move on to Red Bull then. Obviously, been through a huge number of changes this year. Christian Horner leaving. The season started with Adrian Newey leaving, and then they've eventually got rid of the helmet. So, are we moving into a more kinda touchy-feely
I don't know.
era of Red Bull with Sebastian Vettel maybe coming in to do some sort of role?
I mean, but even if Seb came in, I don't think it would necessarily become touchy-feely because what he did have that Max has got and some of the other world champions have had is he was absolutely ruthless.
He was.
When it came down to the sport, he was ruthless.
This nice guy,
Vettel,
that we see now, who's saving the forests and the bees and shit.
Yeah,
that was not that was not the guy racing, was it?
Exactly. What happened to multi-Seb one? What happened to multi-21 Seb? I won the race, didn't I? What you got?
Yeah. He was that same ruthless driver. Yeah,
absolutely. So I don't know. It's almost impossible to see where Red Bull are going, but we can be fairly comfortable that they are well resourced, and it'd be interesting to see what the post-Newey era is like for them. This year's car, by no means a great car in terms of what they've done. You've got to just judge it on Max's potential of the car. You can't take it from Yuki's. I think they've had an average car, but I think Max has, as you said, you can't outperform the car, but he has taken that car to the limit for the most amount of time to gain the performances he can. He basically got 100% out of that, out of the vehicle he was given, and that's what made the difference at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly wasn't a bad car, but it wasn't to the standard that they've been used to over the last few years. They've obviously now done away with the engine that's not a Honda. It was a Red Bull, but not a Honda. Yeah. Now they're moving to a Red Bull that's not a Ford next year.
Yeah. The not Honda one came from a Honda factory, and the not a Ford one does come from Ford. So,
but it's Red Bull are making engines, but it's not a Ford, and it's not. Anyway.
Do they run it on their fizzy pop?
They'd be flying if they did that.
Yeah, well, boom.
Yeah. So let's finish with Red Bull there, and Mercedes. They had a funny one, didn't they? It's just kind of. I think this season, especially the last couple of races, really just sort of summed up Mercedes' performance over this whole set of regulations.
Yeah,
they just from day one, when they were talking about that car being like a fine Swiss watch in the tunnel. In the wind tunnel, it had been beautiful, and then reality was like, no, that's not how it's gonna go, boys.
It was overhyped to the extreme, wasn't it? I feel I know they got second in the Constructors' Championship. I just feel a bit underwhelmed with how Mercedes did this year. I mean, we were getting excited that George was Mr. Consistent, getting 4th and 5th places practically every week, but this is George Russell in the Mercedes. He should be fighting cleanly for the podium on a week in, week out basis. I think Kimi Antonelli had a shocking start to the season, to be fair. He had to do something fairly major to turn his season around, because I thought he was at risk of losing his seat. Had he been going in the same trajectory as the start of the season. But he did enough to sort of improve. I think you can see he had an okay season for his rookie season. He'll be disappointed himself. At least he made some positive progress towards the end of the season. But yeah, just underperformance all the way, except for Giorgio again. I think in many ways, like Max, got everything out of the car that was given to him.
Yeah, I think George Russell, I thought since Lewis left Mercedes, he sort of grew into that role of team leader. I thought it was a little bit harsh, all the contractual negotiations that seemed to take way too long, because Toto clearly wanted to bring Max in.
How are you even considering not having George in your team? I know. Well, yeah.
I don't really understand why Antonelli and Max is the better option than Max and George. But, I mean, George has outperformed Antonelli all season, apart from maybe one or two races. I think George he's my tip for the championship next year, with the little knowledge that we have now before even pre-season testing has begun.
Spoiler alert, like that commitment.
And I really, really enjoyed the rivalry between Max and George that occurred, specifically earlier in the season. The coming together they had, which for the first time ever, Max Verstappen has apologised for and admitted that he was wrong when he drove into the side of George. Almost like nobody else, George Russell just doesn't seem to give a fuck about Max.
No,
Like he's not intimidated.
Yeah,
I think he's
not having it, is he? He's just not having it. Yeah,
I
Max,
think he's got
play your games.
equally good racecraft, which perhaps Lando doesn't have at times. George used to have the name of Mr. Saturday. He's got one lap pace. I just think it could all come together for him nicely next year. And I think he will be somewhat ruthless once he gets into the lead.
I hope he does, because, I mean, this year with Mercedes, what was disappointing was there's an awful lot more, or it felt noticeably more, backbiting on the radio between George and his mechanics.
Yeah.
Difference of opinion in terms of strategy and what tyres should be used and how they... And he actually overruled them a few times, which I was pleased to see. But
I like that.
It's slightly unnerving that they don't understand one another, though, where each other are at, and there's a bit of backbiting.
Do you not think that...
I'm glad they do it.
Is that not just the heat of the moment in the car? Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah. I hope so. It should be more communicative. Sometimes it sounds panicked between them. Why are we doing this? What are we doing that for? And it was just a case of Mercedes, well, this is all the tyres you had and that's it. Well, just leave me out on the softs or whatever. There were many different examples, but a few times George seemed very frustrated with the team and saying, like, why do we do this to ourselves every time? And
he did get it wrong a couple of times. I think they listened to him one occasion, he got it wrong, but I like the fact that George is kind of a maybe more intelligent driver. He kind of he figures out the strategy of the person behind him and in front of him, and he's always looking for some sort of strategic game that can be made. I kind of like that.
Oh no, it is. It just worries me that him and the team aren't necessarily in sync all the time.
I get that. Yeah, and Antonelli, he was all right, wasn't it?
He's done enough. Probably just done enough. I mean, the fact that he's Toto's protege, if you like, has done him no harm whatsoever. But
I'd have him below Hadjar and Oliver Behrman, actually, in my top rookies. Like he never lit anything up, did he? He never excited me in thinking, oh wow, that is a generational talent, which he was dubbed as, wasn't he? Like it's
yeah. No, it was a disappointing one for him and the team, and hopefully we can point it more to the car this year than his overall performance. But I mean, what you want to see, if a car's struggling, you want to see the teammates side by side, because then at least you know that that's all the car can give, and you understand when they're together. When there's a gulf between the teammates, that's a problem.
Yeah, totally agree. And that leaves us with McLaren, our championship team. We've talked a lot about them because they should have had that season wrapped up a long time ago.
Sandvort, they could have, They, after the summer break, they largely fell to pieces, really. They were still getting good points. They had a couple of DNFs, a couple of self-inflicted injuries, and I think that was the issue. They had the car under them practically at all times. Even when it wasn't loving the track, it was still performing relatively well in the scheme of things. But I think they need their strategy. They need to have big words with themselves. And as we've said it before, papaya rules are papaya fools, because they nearly dropped an absolute gimme of a championship at the last hurdle.
Here's a cynical take for you, right? Conspiracy theory type take. Zach Brown has obviously done an excellent job on the whole at McLaren. But do you think papaya rules and the way they go racing with this kind of idea of fairness between their drivers and this whole nice guy kind of thing they're doing is a specific tactic to make them more approachable and more collaborative with sponsors? So, like, you think they're a safe team to sponsor because you know, if you're associated with Red Bull, like, what crazy thing are they going to do next? What crazy. Their fans are nuts. What crazy shit are their fans going to say? And I don't know. I think like that's part of Zach's thinking.
I'm sure there's a bit of that.
Those sponsors on board. If we can say we're the fair team, we're the good guys, we're the nice guys, we win. We go racing in such a nice way, and we still win. We're all about love and.
You don't have to be a bad guy to win. I don't care whether you're a bad guy or not, but it's. Yeah, I'm sure it's a marketing tool. I'm sure there is some of that. I absolutely agree that there's some of that. But what will attract sponsors more than any of that shit is drivers' championships and constructors' championships. And they can't compromise that for 1 second. And they nearly did this year with being too soft. We spoke before about a characteristic of any dominance of a team or a world champion has been you've had a very clear first driver and a very clear second driver, and with the best will in the world, you may let them start the season as equals. As soon as somebody takes an advantage on that, it's time to back everything behind them if it looks like they've got a chance at a run at the championship. They could have made it much easier for themselves. Still like the team, still enjoy what they do.
They're my favourite team. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
they have been for a long time.
But they nearly threw it all away in a skip fire at the end of the season, and that would have been hugely depressing. Because we both said during the season, this could be Lando's one and only try. He's got peak car. And peak performance for himself. He needs to toughen up a little bit. And the same for Oscar. But they were in a position where both their drivers, it was a question of who of their drivers would win, not whether Max could be involved. And that changed the end. And Max was very much involved towards the end.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, we talked about Lando a lot on the last episode where we sung his praises and celebrated his championship win. I'm just still super chuffed that we've got a new champion. I'm really pleased he won. I'm excited to see where he takes that next year, because obviously Mercedes are providing an engine to McLaren as well. I don't see any world where McLaren are going to suddenly slip to the back again.
Yeah.
I think they've made headroom. They gave up on further developments of that 2025 car quite a while ago. So you'd assume they've made good progress already. They've got the Mercedes engines. They've got two good drivers. So, like you say, I think Lando he needs to toughen up a bit. I think he did to be fair, this year. I think he manned up big time this year and brought it home. Oscar, I don't think he needs to do that much different.
No.
There is...
We're calling him a robot at the start of the season. He's got the temperament.
I think,
without question,
he made a significant improvement this year from the year before.
Yeah,
and if he can do that again, then he'll win the world championship. Do you know what I mean? But I question. The only one thing I'm not sure about with Oscar is his pace consistent enough and fast enough? Because really, it doesn't get talked about that much between fans and on the TV and stuff, but it's literally all that matters. Like that's how you become a world champion. Is that like lap after lap after lap after lap, right on the pace? Lando does that. Max does that. Lewis does that. I think George has proven he can do that as well. Can Oscar do that? Because he dropped off around, post Zandvoort basically, had a big drop off, and his pace was nowhere near what Lando stepped up to for a few races. He obviously found some pace again towards the end, but there's a sort of suggestion that some of those twistier, tight tracks with tight corners don't suit him quite as much.
I agree with you. I think he's probably got the character to be able to lap consistently within half a tenth every single time. But I know what you're saying. It's that, does he have that burst of speed? Does he have that quality mindset where he can literally throw it? I think he can drive fast lap after lap after lap after lap. But can he stretch himself for that little quali sesh? I'm not sure he can. He did a few times, but when they got head to head, it was Lando who always had that gap really on him.
It just doesn't feel like quite yet he's got that little. He can't turn it up to 11. Do you know what I mean? That's that. Sometimes you have to do. Lando did that a few times towards the end of the season. Max is obviously thrives doing that kind of thing. Other champions have done it. I just think sometimes you just need that little extra on the dial, don't you? And I'm not quite sure he's found that yet. I'm not saying he doesn't have it. I just don't think he's found it yet.
Well, when they give him a service and a software upgrade, I'm sure they'll address all of these things.
Yeah, it's like 3.0 now, isn't he?
The Terminator.
Right, let's try and bring this all together then with some scores and some ratings, and I've provided some live graphics. This is the quality, the level of this podcast. So here we go.
Whoa!
So, I'm going to live write things here. So.
Have you? How did you manage to replicate deluxe paint off the Amiga? This is some retro shit. Have you got
it's all I could come up with in the minimal sort of IT credentials that I've got. This is all I could come up with. I could do live.
It's better than mine, mate. Better than mine.
Maybe it should have been black with right. Can I switch it to like a dark mode? Would you prefer that?
This is quick maths.
It's quite bright, isn't it? No, I can't. What's that? Nope.
It's just gonna have to get what they're given.
Yeah,
this is typical. If anyone watching this for new, this is how we roll. This won't be edited in any way, shape, or form.
Right. So let's start by ranking the teams. Start with McLaren. Out of 10, what are you giving?
I'm giving McLaren a 9. I can't give anyone a perfect because there was no perfect, but in terms of general performance and consistency across the season,
I would agree with that.
They were a 9.
Red Bull.
I think the car is a 7. It's not a dog of a car. It's not the most horrific one that they've ever had by any means, but I have to acknowledge the fact that it doesn't work for both drivers, and that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking an 8, but you're right. It's got to work for both drivers, hasn't it? So,
well, they lost themselves an easy second place in the construction championship by doing that.
Ferrari.
Oof. Not the best Ferrari I've seen for some time. A lot of strategy mistakes. I'm in sort of 5 territory with that, you know. I'm happy to debate it. The
only reason I would say that maybe they're slightly higher than a 5 is that they finished 4th. Do you know what I mean? And also, are we at risk of holding them to a higher standard because they are Ferrari?
Yeah, that's fair.
Which maybe would be unfair if we did that. I'd argue for a 6.
I would go for that. Let's do that.
Okay. 6 for Ferrari. Team RB.
Straight down the line.
5.
A 5, straight down the line.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. 5 for them. Williams.
Oh, I'd push them for a 6 as well.
I think a 6 as well.
Yeah.
Especially if you think about kind of end of season trajectory.
Yeah.
Like they
had a good season. They've progressed this year. Definitely progressed.
Let's go 6. I like 6 for that. If I can figure it out. So 6 for Williams. Haas.
Car's not been great. Not as good as the Team RB. 4.
Well,
the drivers have done better.
Second last. I should have put them in ranking order here, but shouldn't I? But
they were 8th out of 10.
Yeah, 4 seems fair then, doesn't it? 4 does seem fair. So let's go 4. Aston Martin.
I'd put them on a par with Team RB.
Yeah,
5.
5 for them.
They should be better. They should be better than that. Should at least be a Williams, but they weren't.
Sauber, I'm thinking like, really it's a 2, considering where they finished, but I think 3 just because there was moments, wasn't there, which we discussed earlier.
There were some really good moments when Nico got his podiums. Bortoletto had a decent season. Absolutely, yeah.
Alpine.
A dirty 1.
It's got to be a 1, hasn't it? They're just absolutely dreadful. Mercedes.
Ooh. 7. Because I think they outperformed the Ferraris, obviously. The Red Bull would have been an 8, but obviously we're reflecting the fact that it didn't work for both drivers. It wasn't a good one. But a 6 or a 7. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can't give him an 8, I don't think.
No.
So yeah, I couldn't give him a 6 either, to be fair, but I think that's a solid 7 for them. Right. So what we'll do, or what we agreed earlier, didn't we, is that we'll now, should we do all the drivers or should we just do the top 10 in the championship?
Let's do the top 10. Because let's see if it would have changed. Let's see if it would have changed it.
Yeah, let's just do the top 10. So let me get the drivers' championship up. So that is Lando Norris down to Fernando Alonso. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Okay, so for Norris, not without his weaknesses, but I can't, as I say, I won't give anyone a 10 because I don't think it's justified. With his weaknesses, he put his big boy trousers on towards the end of the season. I would give Lando a solid 8.
Norris? Oh, God.
Now, this is good.
So 8?
8.
So then what are we doing?
We multiply them. So 9 8s are 71.
So we're going to add in or multiply 8 by the car score, yeah?
Yeah, driver score by the car score to give us a new score.
Okay, so Lando gets an 8 and times 9 for the car.
71.
Which is 71 points. Okay, I like it. This could end... It's interesting where this could end up. Right, Oscar then. Oh no, Max, sorry.
Max, I've got to give Max a 9. Just with what he did towards the end of the season. I think he was quite exceptional. He was the most entertainment as well.
Yeah, he joked as well that if he'd been driving, well, we say it's a joke. If he'd been driving that McLaren, the championship would have been wrapped up a very long time ago.
Absolutely. I don't doubt that.
Yeah, no, it's impossible to doubt that. So yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not. I think he did extraordinary things this year, and I think I've said a few times as well on the channel, if he had won the championship, we would have witnessed one of the greatest sporting achievements of all time.
Without question. For people who watch a lot, people will understand that that's not an easy thing for us to say, being Brit-loving, Lewis acolytes for everything.
So
9 7s, 63.
63. Okay. And then who's next? Oscar.
I can't necessarily separate him that much from Lando, but obviously he didn't win the title, so a 7.
Yeah, I think that has to be. Otherwise, he's out. He hasn't been. I don't think he's been better than Max.
No.
Also 63. I think that feels right.
Yeah.
And then who's next? Charles, is it?
Charles Leclerc. Oh, Russell. No, Russell. Georgie boy. Do you know what? I have to give George an 8. He's not quite Max's level, but he performed superbly this year. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I think I would agree. You can't. He's not been up to Max's level this year. I think he could be.
Yeah.
I think there was moments where he's taken it to Max this year, but no.
What he did in that car was very impressive, and his super consistency, and he's Fantastic season.
So an 8 times 7. 56, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so it's just gone in championship order.
Perfect. Well, we could have a few curveballs with the Ferraris. Let's see. Let's
do it.
They might go out of position. So we're on Leclerc, Charlie Leclerc.
Charles. Okay. And Ferrari are 6.
6. I would give Charles a 6.
Yeah, I would. I can't. Maybe a 7.
But then you're bringing him up to Oscar.
I know, but right. So let's just think: if you put Charles in that McLaren, what would he have done?
Oh, yeah,
I think he would have won the championship.
He'd have had a good one. The handsome Monegasque bastard that he is.
I want to give him a 7.
Give him a 7.
Is that all right?
Give him a 7.
I've underrated him this year too many times as well.
That's a 42.
Okay. Then Lewis. It's got to be a 5 for me.
I agree.
I can't give him any more than that. I'm maybe being harsh here, but you can't get stuck in Q3 that many times and get too much more than 5. I think he would even admit that this has not been his season in any way, shape or form, and I don't think he'd give himself too much more than that as well. So that's 30.
Then we're next? On Antonelli.
Kimi.
6.
Yeah.
I would say 6.
That's 42 as well.
36. 6 is 36.
36.
36.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I thought we'd said. It's good maths, mate. He's still better. Yeah, I mean that's.
I don't know whether you've heard. I'm kind of a big deal in my times tables. You know, I never forgot them. See, well, we've put one out of place. Then we've said Kimi had a better season than Hamilton, and
that's almost certainly true, isn't it? Even just based on that. So who's next? We've got
Albon.
Alex Albon.
And Williams is a 6. I'd give him a 6.
Yeah, I would as well.
He's decent.
Same again then. Who's next?
Carlos Sainz. I've got to give him a 7, you know. I've got to give him a 7. I think he did. His second half picked up just enough and he got some podiums.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't forget what happened. Albon did well, but he didn't. That podium, I think, earns him a 7 alone. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah, when we were doing our predictions, he was the one that would often pop up in a 5th.
Yeah.
To be fair, it was both the Williams lads, but I think he had a better season than Alex, so by definition, he's got to take.
Yeah, and he's obviously driving a new car at the start of the season, which took him some time.
That's a 42 again, yeah.
To get going as well. So yeah, I think that's right. Fonzie.
A solid 6 for the Fonz. A solid 6.
In that pig of a car, which is a 5.
Yeah.
That's 30.
So Fonzie and Lewis had the same season. We've just relegated Lewis significantly.
I know, but I think that's right. For two people that have much higher standards.
Yeah.
They're both world champions. I think Alonso hasn't always had a lot of luck in his career either, but from the teams he's at. But I think that's probably right. I'm comfortable.
I'm pleased with that. That's a bit of fun.
I'm comfortable with that decision.
So the first
let's as a little side note, should we do the other rookies as well?
Well, yeah, you're going to need a new.
Or should we just leave it at that?
We'll leave it at that for now. We could do a two-parter if it comes to it. We might say Rise of the Rookies. That is some primo amiga shit. So what have we got? The first three are in exactly title order, and then George, he's a 56. Then Carlos and Charles equaling at 42. Then Kimi and Alex after that. And then Lewis and Fonzie. That doesn't feel bad, you know. It's an alternative.
I'm pretty comfortable with that. Looking at it, because I don't think you can have Max above Lando. I just don't think you can, because he's obviously he won the World Championship, so he is the best driver this year,
de facto.
So I think that's right.
So there you go. There's your alternative championship. Tell us what you thought. Tell us if we're chatting shite as per usual.
So who's out of place? Just Lewis. Well out of place. He should have been 9th or 10th.
Carlos moves up to around Charles.
5th or 6th. That feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That feels about right.
We've leveled the playing field. Oh no, don't! I hope the FIA don't watch this. They'll have some sort of like golf, some sort of handicap calculator, and it goes on at the end of the season. We won't know for 3 months who's won the title until they've done sort of a handicap.
I think we've fucking nailed that, mate.
We've reinvented F1. Fuck, brilliant.
Yeah, and I think that you'd have other people a bit higher up, wouldn't you? Like you might have Isaac Hadjar probably would fit in somewhere around 6th or 7th. You'd potentially have, like we said earlier,
you'd have a nod for Behrman in there. He'd get a nod.
Yeah, and then Gasly would be higher up than 18th, I think, as well, because he's like he outperformed that car, like we said.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that. I'm happy with that. As a result
just
of our season,
reinvented the sport. Nice work.
Yeah. Right. We've got. How long have we got? It's not that long. They only get about a month off before they're back in the simulator, don't they? So we may have a week or two off over Christmas.
And drop a couple of nuggets in for the early new year, no doubt.
I think what we need to do is have a season preview. Maybe talk about the regs and what we're expecting. I'm worried. I am worried about next year. There's a graphic. I wish I'd put it up. I might put it over the top when I'm editing this up. But that I sent to you in Whites that had a number of phrases that the F1 are trying to encourage us to use to talk about the batteries. I just don't want to have battery talk dominate the conversation next year. I heard Ted Kravitz say that he's looking forward to Monza next year to see how the batteries play out on a track where it's not easy to charge them up. I'm not excited about that.
No,
I want to see.
Who's got the best battery? We're going to have to put a third variable into the calculation for next year.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up actually because it was. It worried me, this graphic, and I sent it to you in Whites on the thing. Here we go.
It's a buzz assassin, isn't it?
So F1 2026 terms: overtake, additional
novel.
Electrical energy to help overtaking, boost, temporary max energy mode for attacking and defending.
It's the same thing.
Recharge, recharging electrical energy replaces harvesting or the word regen. Active aero, movable front and rear wings to change downforce drag levels.
No.
What White's replied, and he said he prefers skills. So his definition of that is an impeccable display of racecraft to gain or defend a position, or big balls. His definition being a risky high-speed manoeuvre, usually around the outside to gain a position.
Oh, that was classic big balls by Norris.
It's already more entertaining.
He's dropping some mad skills. Skills with a Z, presumably, yeah?
I also added that I said, can we also add the Hail Mary to the list? Because I'm in favour of lunatics going full send, basically.
Yeah.
So that's
that's infinitely better than anything the FIA have tried to introduce. It's depressing. That's depressing.
Let's save that for the next show, though.
I'm excited for a big season.
We're building up for our next show here.
Yeah.
So if you want to be depressed, watch our next video.
and drop us some comments and drop us some ideas of things you might like to discuss. Obviously, there's some controversial races and happenings that go into the past of F1. If there's anything you want to hear us discuss or have an opinion on, drop us a note. Let's see what we can do.
And mate, that brings to a conclusion season 1 of the Zero Credentials F1 podcast.
It's pretty sweet, isn't it?
Yeah,
what a good time.
Good.
What a good time.
Thanks to all the new subscribers who've made it this far through this video.
Yeah, thank you all.
Have come over from places other than this channel. So thank you very much. And we'll see you again soon enough. Have a great Christmas, New Year, all that sort of stuff. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.